Hello, welcome back to Blender Sushi Live Noding. In this episode, we're gonna do an improvisation. We're using Sverchok Add-On and the Metaballs nodes. So it's gonna be pretty simple and relaxing. So, so let's get started. We're gonna be using the Torus. So there is a Torus Knot. You already know what this does. So there's actually a new thing in Sverchok. If you right click on node, it gives you these options to connect viewer draw. I do this all the time, so this is gonna be make it even faster. So as you already know, Torus Knot will actually produce some kind of beautiful nodes, beautiful knot based on math formula, and this was created by one of Sverchok developer. He spent some time to put this together. You can of course read the actual codes that creates these nodes. It's actually quite interesting. I don't know, like I don't know 100% of how this works, but this thing creates very interesting curve. And this thing, of course, you can use like a polyline viewer. You already know this, and you can plug that in, and you get this nice looking curve. You can close it and you can smooth it. So that's kind of beautiful in itself. But for what we are doing, we want to be using the Metaballs because that's the new nodes that we have, and let's save it as Knot Torus Metaball. Save it, and then let's see what happens if we just plug this into the Metaballs. So we get a result right away. So let me reduce the radius, and it's actually very interesting, and you can do quite a lot even with such a simple setup. So because Torus Knot is very interesting in itself, and you can increase the curve resolutions to get more metaballs along the line. So now you can have this kind of like a geometry. It's and if you ever want to output this guy from meta, you can use the object ID out. It should be working now. And remember, you can use right click and then just connect it to viewer draw, and we should get this result, and we can just bake it, and we have a real mesh object. So that's one example of how you want to process it one way, but we can keep it just like a metaball. Whenever you are using Sverchok to work in Blender, you can delete everything, and then if you update it, it will, all the geometry will come back. So that doesn't matter, and all of these are alive, and you can see as I'm changing all these attributes, you get a different Torus Knots and got a different design. So that's really interesting in itself. Let's find a one that's kind of simple but cool looking. Okay, this one is cool. We can use this. And curve resolution, I can maybe reduce it. So actually this one is cool as well. This is like the basic one. What's cool, of course, you can revolve. You can play with the spin and the revolution, and you're gonna make this thing spin. And I'll show you what you can do with this. Let's say if we give like a random number, and let's use list length. From the vertices goes into the size. This goes into the radius. And the float, give random value. You should get this kind of geometry, and then you can actually spin the face. So now the curve, the points of Metaball is almost like swimming over the Torus Knot. This is very cool, and you can use a frame number and just plug this into this spin face, but I'll multiply it so it's gonna be a bit slower. So you can see if I make it full screen. So that's a very interesting animations there. Very easily you can create this, and you can always bake it to Alembic if you like to make this a little bit faster and real time. So you can play with the stiffness and all this value threshold. I'm gonna leave it like that. And with the Torus Knot, you can further play around with the curve. Maybe add a vector noise. I always do this. This is actually like one of a quick little trick there you can always do. Just plug this vertices of a Torus Knot into this vector noise, and then add them together, and you get some kind of more interesting result very easily. Yeah, and then you can randomize, and you can try different noise like Voronoi or cell pattern or blender noise, but it's very cool actually. So yeah, I think that's actually pretty much what I want to show you in this live noding. It's very simple, like I said. Play around with this and try all kind of different attributes. I found it like with Metaballs, since it is very very organic looking. You can, if you render it using something like freestyle, or if you give it like a simple material, it's gonna look really nice in itself. So it's almost like some kind of living creature. I think that's very cool. And don't forget, you can always go to the panel here and increase the resolutions, but don't go too far. It might slow down Blender too much. So now it's already a bit slower. The radius, let's make it a bit bigger here, smaller there, and add more resolution. Let's try different combinations. Actually, that's too much. With the noise, you can also kind of multiply this. So make the noise a little bit stronger or less strong. And also the motion is a little bit faster or slower. Let's try this one. So there you go. This is just a basic Torus Knot. So based on the geometry, you can create very cool organic looking mesh very quickly. And yeah, because Metaball is very simple nodes, you just assign it like a point vertices, or you create some kind of a random transformations value, transform matrix, and then you plug it in and then you get a result. Very basic, very easy. And yeah, so this is one of such example. So hopefully you find this useful and entertaining, hopefully. And if you have any question or feedback or suggestion, let me know, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.